Welcome to The Confident Healer. I'm your host, Sharmila Molly, and in this podcast, we have inspirational, uplifting, and soulful conversations about the ins and outs of having confidence as a healer and as a healer in business. This is the Confident Healer podcast, and we will delve into what motivates your confidence, how you grow your confidence in your business, what keeps you going. But first, let's tell everyone, what is a Sxual Radiance Coach?
A Sxual Radiance Coach, by my definition, is someone that helps you to find your own strength, your own empowerment, your own inner confidence, to own your sexuality, which is an integral part of who we are as human beings. Our sexual energy is connected to creativity, to fluidity, stability. And so my job is to help you to come back into your own internal power and live from an empowered place in order to live a more fulfilling life. And so in a nutshell, that is what Sxual Radiance Coaching is, to help you radiate from the inside out.
I think that's what we all want, is to radiate from the inside. And you're doing it through sexuality, through being sexy. Why is that important, to be sexy? What does that mean to you?
When we are living in our own sexual power, we become alluring, sometimes mysterious, magnetic. And those are all positive traits. And when we are giving off or radiating this kind of energy, we will attract like energy. So for example, if you're coming from a place of power, right? Because you feel confident in yourself, because you are owning your sexuality, because you are owning the fact that you are a sexual being, without even using words, we will emanate a boundary. And so certain people may feel from you like, oh, that's not someone that I can just say anything to, even though I find them very attractive and I want to be with them. So being sexy is important, because sexy is not just about, I say this in all of my workshops, it's not about cleavage or showing your beautiful legs or your pumps, or, that's not really sexy. It's a part of it, right? Because appearance is super important, but that's not for everybody, right? Not every woman likes heels and cleavage. It's really not about an image the way that we have been fed by the culture. It really is about our own empowerment. And when we own our sexual and creative energy, we're owning our entire selves, not just a part of ourselves.
This is the Confident Healer, because we were talking about confidence. And I agree with that in order to feel empowered, to feel powerful, to be, quote unquote, your best self, it's all about confidence. It's all about the radiance that you are exuding, how you feel about yourself. So I think that makes perfect sense. Was that hard coming out to your family, coming from the Latinx culture?
Yeah. For me, and I know I'm not alone in this. Yes, I grew up believing we were Catholic. And I say that because we didn't go to church every Sunday, but I did my first communion. So yes, I grew up with the Catholic influence. I grew up thinking that pretty much everything was wrong. Everything was wrong, such as drinking is wrong, even though that's what my family did every weekend. Sex before marriage was wrong.
Whoops.
And we had quite a few people pregnant before marriage in my family. Lots of contradictions.
Which life is full of, by the way, and that's what makes life sexy.
And interesting. the only time that I heard people talking about being gay was when someone would leave and be like, "Oh, do you think that they're gay?" Or I'm pretty sure that she's gay.
Really?
I'm pretty
Oh my
sure
God.
he's
The whispers.
you know, and I used to be like, I don't know. But I also didn't think it was a problem because I, you know, for like I was saying, the messages were, "Can't wait for you to get married," because I was the
Mm,
oldest.
mm.
And so my aunt would be like, "So when are you going to get married?" Especially one of my favorite aunts who's passed on now. But she used to be like, "Mira, when are you going to get married? And oh, he's cute. What's happening with him?" You know, I was in high school. I'm like, Jesus,
Mm.
married? Well, when I admitted and accepted that I really was genuinely attracted to women, I thought I would never have to come out the closet. But then what happens? I fell in love in grad school with a woman, and
So how old were you?
I was a late bloomer, so I went to grad school at 27.
Okay. Wow.
And I met a woman there that I was totally taken by, and I fell in love with her. And I thought, well, if I'm ever going to come out, this is it, because I'm actually in love. I planned to tell my parents, and this is actually a funny story. And so my mom has always been the open one out of my parents, and my dad's been the closed one. Well, for some reason, the day that I was introducing this woman from grad school, we were in New York. That's where we went to school. And my family was living in Connecticut. So, you know, I told her all about my family, and, you know, she was also Puerto Rican, and we had lots of similarities. And I was like, "Oh, my family's going to love you." So I told my dad, I was like, "Can you please make a nice dinner for my best friend?" You know, that was my,
Wow.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made, oh my God, arroz con andule, and I think he made pollo guisado, which is like rice and pigeon peas, and stewed chicken. I'm sorry for the
Oh my
vegans
gosh,
listening to
I'm
this,
so
but
hungry.
this is how we grew up. Sorry. And my dad was an amazing cook. Well, the funny thing is, my dad was so happy to meet this woman, and my mom was still in her PJs when we got there. And I was like, that is so unlike my mom. And she brought my mom this plant that she specifically picked out for my mom. And my mom, she gave it to my mom. And my mom was like, "Thank you." And I was like, and my mom is like so fucking flippin' sweet. I'm so sorry. So sweet.
You can curse, it's fine.
My mom is so sweet. Anyone that knows my mom, she's adorable. She's so sweet. So I was shocked, and I apologized to her. I was like, "I am so, so sorry. I did not expect this." My dad stayed staring into space. I didn't know what to say. I was totally uncomfortable with the silence. So the only thing I could say to kind of get him to blink was, "Well, I still like men. There's still hope." I didn't know what to say. I was like,
So wait.
"I'm
So
bisexual."
walk us through that confidence.
But yeah, it was more courage. It was courage, and I wasn't living at home. Right, I left at an early age, so that helps. And I just said, "You know what? I love her, and I don't know where we're gonna go, but this person is worth me telling my family that
Mm.
this is part of my identification, and this is part of, you know, the way that I love."
Mm.
And it was courage. I was yes, I was nervous as hell, but I found I just went in. And sometimes, you know, we have to kind of like put our blinders on, you know, like when you're about to go diving in a pool, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
at one point, you're going to have to hold your nose and jump in, right? And that's kind of like what happened for me.
As another segue, do you think confident, I was saying earlier that I feel like confidence is dynamic because life is dynamic. Like nothing is ever static. Like you're not always going to feel 100% about everything. I think there's levels to it. Would you agree with that? Or do you agree with me? Do you think I'm right?
That there's levels to confidence.
Yeah. It's like
Oh,
confidence is
yeah.
dynamic. And does it waver with you when you think about, okay, I have this program, I have, this program that I want to teach my clients something, like when you're in the process of creating ways to help with your clients, does your confidence waver, or is it always like, Is it always like at a certain level to push you through to put your stuff out there as
There
a business owner?
there's one place where my confidence doesn't waver, and that's in my work as a sex coach.
Well, damn.
Um,
Boom. Drop the mic. End the conversation. All right. Well, thank you so much, Angelica Gutierrez. Yeah. See, that's, when I put this call out, I was like, obviously, I'm going to get confident people. Right. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and
Boom.
it's deeper than that for me. The confidence comes from my deep belief in the work that I do.
Mm.
I know that I know what I'm talking about, and I know that I
Mhm.
know how to help people.
Yes, girl.
And I have done it, and not just because well, yeah, there's the testimonials, but I know it's like the best way I can explain it, I think you can relate to this, Sharmila. It's like when you step into a realm and you almost feel like all the support that you need is there for you,
Mm-hmm.
and all you need to do, like I'm literally a vessel, and I know that sounds so fucking cheesy.
No, it's not cheesy. And so what I'm hearing from you from this whole amazing conversation, of the depths that we've gone into Angelica's heart and psyche and soul, it just seems like, so your upbringing, your you just being you just kind of came out of the gate confident, and you had your favorite aunt, and you had your grandmother, you had some strong women supporting you and encouraging you, probably to the behest of your mom, like, oh my God, stop encouraging her. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then just having these mentors in your life, despite having some trauma that is deeply affecting, it deeply affects kind of the core of who you are, sexual trauma. I mean, yeah, especially sexual trauma, and that you could overcome that. And when you're putting together your marketing materials, your talks, your public talks, when because I feel like, when you're working with someone, yeah, there's, what you're doing, there's a rapport, you've already established that, but I don't know, I guess my question is, when you're putting your stuff out into the public, I guess, do you ever think about, like, oh my God, what are people going to think? Are they going to think I'm a fraud? I mean, do you have any of those, do any self-doubts come in your head? Cause for me, that's what always comes up, and it can be really debilitating for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
as a woman in business. Yeah.
I think early on I did, because I was very isolated in my work. So, I moved from England here 4 years ago. I knew two people in Seattle, and it wasn't even in the plans for me to stay here. So when I started doing this work, when I came here,
Back to the U.S.
I to the US. I didn't have a sexuality network, if you will. So that is where I felt a little like, oh God, am I, is this the right thing? Because everything was self-taught, or going back to my studies, I mean, grad school, what do you get? Unless you're doing your master's in human sexuality, which mine was not. We do have to take sexuality classes, but it's not the core of our work.
Mm-hmm.
And so got my confidence back by reading a lot about this stuff, because I eat this up like nothing. I just adore it, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I don't have enough time to read everything that's out there. And then I became a part of a sex coach community,
Mm.
sex coach university, with Dr. Patty Britton, who you met, Sharmila.
Oh, right.
And that opened up the doors for me. So I would say that helped me to remind myself that I do know what I'm talking about. That for me, the value of the cohort
Mm-hmm.
is where that's valuable to me, but also the content of this program, the fact that I have other colleagues to call on and draw upon for
Mm.
support has really helped my confidence as a sex coach a whole lot. That I know it would not have been the same had I not joined this program, because I really was flying solo. And that's hard to do, when you have nobody else to draw on. You're already working on home. I have fellow entrepreneurial friends such as yourself and other women, except not many of them are doing what I do.
Right.
And so it's like, so where do I find my community? So the confidence comes from community. And for me.
Thank you for listening. Please go to www.theconfidenthealer.net. This is the best place to listen to the podcast, and it's also where you can go and find the guest info in the show notes. Remember, there are 3 important actions to take to help grow the show. Invite others to listen, leave a review if you learned something new, or if you just learned something, and by leaving a donation. You can find the links on theconfidenthealer.net. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.